Hello Gemini, welcome to our April 2022 reading for Sun, Moon and Rising. We'll start off with the sound bowl, just to tune into the energy and cleanse the space. So if you'd like to take a nice breath in and exhale. Okay, Gemini. Let's see what April has in store for you. We'll be doing 3 rows. The first row will be your current energy starting of the month. The second row, anything that is unseen, any challenges, obstacles, or surprises. And the third row will be the outcome for the month. And I will be cutting the deck. Emperor, current energy, the Hangman, which is unseen, so maybe a delay there, and then the Hermit. Okay, so you really are doing some soul searching this month, trying to plan ahead, because the Emperor talks about strategically planning ahead for his future, for the best of all, for everyone who's close to him. He oversees everything and he's planning ahead, he's putting in the steps, but in a very external way. But then we've got the Hangman and the Hermit, and the Hangman talks about kind of making sure you see things from as many perspectives as possible, taking the time out to do so. Okay, sometimes this is because it's unseen, it could be imposed on you, which could make you feel uncomfortable. But then as you reach the end of the month, the Hermit has basically enabled you to do some deep soul searching, some deep introspection about what you want your future to look like. Okay, and making sure that really it's a very sort of, it feels quite slow and definite, the month. Kind of very like, what's the expression? What's the expression? Slow and steady wins a race is the feeling I'm getting. Right. Let's find out what you're planning for the future. Let's find out what this delay is. And let's find out what you are soul searching. Excuse me, I've got a frog in my throat. Okay, Hierophant, Ace of Cups, 10 of Cups, very nice, 7 of Wands, 3 of Swords, the Tower, interesting, Ace of Wands, 2 of Swords, 10 of Swords. Okay, so you're trying to plan ahead for the future with this Emperor card. Okay, what you're doing is you're trying to work out how can you work within the system or make the system work for you, because Hierophant talks about organizations, systems, authoritative figures, kind of organizations, government, that sort of thing, the rules and regulations. And what I think you're doing is you're trying to work out where you stand now. What can I do that's going to be work for the long term for me? What action do I need to take now that will pay off in the long term in working with the system? And when I say working with the system, this could be the organization that you work for if you do so. It could be if you have your own business, the government strategies or government kind of opportunities that are out there. It's basically saying, okay, well, how can I make the system work for me rather than being worked by the system? Because we've got the 7 of Wands here as well. So you may have to answer up to some sort of organization, some sort of governmental thing, legal system even, and or anything where you have to validate yourself at work. Okay, because 7.1 talks about defending what and protecting what is yours, defending and protecting what is yours, justifying yourself and standing up for yourself. You can see how he is standing at the doorway saying, no, these are my rights, basically. And then we have the Ace of Wands, which talks about a kind of inspired action, brand new beginning. This could talk about a new job, a new project, a new idea. Okay, that's really, really exciting. So it does feel like you're trying to plan ahead for the future. And how can you do that? Where you're standing on your own 2 feet, using the system in your benefit rather than being done by the system, to enable you to carry out this inspired idea that you have, and you're really spending your time doing it. The thing that's unseen towards you is it's very weird, because we've got the Ace of Cups, which talks about new love or new beginning in love, but then we've got sadness following, and then not sure what to do. So it almost seems like these are completely on 2 sides of the spectrum. They are completely contrasting energies, and in the middle we've got this, I don't know whether to go with the love or am I still heartbroken. It's like not sure what to do. And that's what the Hangman comes up with. That's where you're needing a bit of time to sort of suss things out. It could be a situation where you start something new with a partner, or even if you have a partner, where there's a renewal of it. Okay, something that you haven't seen before. This would be if I'm talking about romantically. And then something comes in to upset that new beginning, and then you're kind of a bit torn about, like, oh God, should I go with this, or should I not? So it's almost as if something ends before it starts, and it's kind of disrupting your flow here, okay? Because you basically are focused on your work, your momentum, your drive forward, what's happening for you in the long term, in the future. And what disrupts that is the heart space leading into the head space, and you're really needing to take the time out to really suss this out. But we're gonna clarify further. What all of that does is it moves you into a totally different energy by the end of the month, because where your focus initially was on your prosperity, on your long-term sense of security, what you do in the world, what your purpose is, how you carry that out, what your lifestyle looks like, okay? Shifts into a different energy by the end of the month, because you've had this disruption, because where your focus had been kind of work related, or let's just say solar plexus related, you hadn't accounted for the heart space, okay? You hadn't accounted quite for that. So that's why you needed the Hangman phase. You needed that delay. You needed this disruption, because you needed to take that into account as well with the Emperor. So in a way, with the Emperor, who is ruled by the mind, that divine masculine energy, you kind of needed the Empress too, which talks about unconditional love and the heart space and birthing new creations. You kind of needed both to really plan out the future. So what you hadn't accounted for was the heart space. So what that means is, come the end of the month, you're allowed to amalgamate all of that together. And now you're doing the soul searching on what is your ultimate happiness and fulfillment. Realizing or recognizing almost that for your plans for the future were not necessarily to do with new ideas and new exciting ideas, but it was also, where do you actually feel happiest at home? Where is home for you? And when I say home, I'm not necessarily talking about that refuge, that building that you live in and you call home. I'm talking about what feels like home to you, in terms of where do you feel fulfilled, emotionally satisfied, contented, at peace, where everything is nice, where there's beautiful harmony. That is the thing you're trying to suss out, because you had disregarded that in the beginning. You'd kind of focused too much on work. And then we have this Tower moment here, which is a bit of a disruption again. So you're being caught up with a couple of disruptions this month. The Tower brings a tower crumbling down when it is built on false foundations. So maybe as you're analyzing and really doing some soul searching into what is your own internal happiness, where do you feel more content, peaceful, and fulfilled, means that actually the home that you've got, or the environment that you're in, doesn't actually satisfy that, doesn't actually do the trick. And that's what comes crumbling down. And with it, we have this Ten of Swords, which can talk about a loss and can talk about something that's dead, done, over with. Okay, so it's really sussing all of that out. But because it's all under the Hermit, these are the things that are happening within your headspace. Now, normally the Hermit, not in the Gilded Tarot, but in the Rider-Waite Tarot, in the traditional tarot, the Hermit is an older man with a cloak on, walking through at night, and he holds up a lantern to show his way. But he cannot see beyond where the lantern shines the light. So he is basically walking in the darkness, only illuminated initially where his feet are, and it allows himself the space and time to kind of go in whichever direction without projecting what the future would look like. Okay, and he's in that space. So he's really kind of dealing with the here and now. What is working for me right now? He sees only where he is. He cannot really see in the future, but he needs to know where he is now so that he can. So I do feel like it is actually a very promising and prosperous shift for you, because you had to recognize where the heart played into this new future that you're placing for yourself. It may mean that you working out by the end of the month, what are the things that make me feel good? What are the things that have to now crumble and go because they really are not conducive to my future plans or my ultimate happiness? Where is there a loss? Where do I have to recognize that something is actually done over with? Okay, now that can talk about a relationship. It can talk about a business situation. I mean, it can affect any aspect of your life, but it does feel like there's a type of you're done, okay? But you wouldn't have been able to reach that point until you'd gone to the Hermit phase, okay? Until you'd had this, I would say, disruption, okay? Right, so let us clarify further. The Empress jumped out on top of the Emperor. How sweet is that? This is our saying about the Emperor and the Empress. Okay. Okay, let's see. Two of Swords, King of Cups, Strength, Four of Wands, Nine of Cups. Oh, interesting. Two of Wands, Three of Pentacles, Eight of Swords, and the Emperor again. Starting off with the Emperor, ending off on the Emperor. Yes. Very mature energy here. But anyway, let me carry on. So you kind of, as I was saying, it's just confirming what I was talking about with the Hierophant, working out for yourself what is going to work in your favor. Now, you may feel like you're at a bit of a crossroads with that, with not really knowing which way to decide. Remember that not making a decision is, the universe recognizes that as a decision as well. So you can do nothing, or you can make a decision, bearing in mind that just because you've made a decision doesn't mean it's a be-all and end-all. Things can always change. Now, I would say with this is because it's head-related, which is obviously very much ruled by the Emperor here. I would say if there's a decision that needs to be made and one is more satisfying the heart space and the other one is more satisfying the logic space, I would say follow the heart, purely because this is a thing that's disrupting you and pushing into that energy. So you might be able to fast track that decision and navigate these energies a little bit smoother. You're defending yourself as it relates to your lifestyle, which is represented in the Four of Wands over here. It could also be that perhaps you are trying to plan ahead for the future in terms of maybe you want to go on holiday somewhere. You're planning for a holiday. You're planning for some sort of event like a wedding, but you're having to justify yourself at work or to the powers that be because you need to make this happen. Perhaps you want to continue working what you're doing, but you no longer want to go into the office and do it. And instead, you're finding a way. How do you make, so I'm just giving you an example of the energy. How do you play the system, make the system work for you? How can you, for example, how can I move into a much nicer environment, still do the work that I do, but be in a nice environment? And that sees you standing up for yourself. So I do feel like there's something that you can evidence. And I would say just get all your facts and figures together, but you will have the evidence to be able to back it. Okay. And with the Ace of Wands, it could be something, this idea, this new exciting idea, it could be something that you thought about before, because we've got the Three of Pentacles, but it also may be something that requires collaboration with other people, so getting other people involved in it. So I would say that would be very, very good for you. Okay, the Hangman with this Ace of Cups and the King of Cups does tell me that someone is coming towards you. And I would say this is I like the King of Cups. He is grounded, he is solid, he knows his mind and he knows his heart. And he may not speak a lot, but still waters runs deep. So male or female, doesn't matter, but this is someone who is emotionally intelligent, emotionally in touch with their intelligence. So if the King of Cups comes to you with a cup of love, it does have integrity with it. He's not going to be running away. He is offering that, meaning that he's ready to commit. Okay, she ready to commit. We've got the Three of Swords with the Nine of Cups here, meaning that this sort of heartbreak here could be related to something from the past, okay? Because it's moved into the headspace, because it's a sword energy. But I do feel that if there has been some sort of upset to do with this offer that's coming in, because as we've got the Nine of Cups here, it talks about being wish fulfillment. So actually that you didn't want to go there. It's almost like you're planning for the future, and then all of a sudden love knocks on your door and you're like, I don't have the time for love. I do not have the time for new exciting things in my life, because I've got it together and I've got my ideas, right? But it comes knocking on your door, and I feel like you're not ready for it. So if it doesn't, if someone plays up just once, then you're not going to give them the benefit of the doubt. You say, okay, well, I didn't want that anyway, because actually you didn't want to be involved. Or perhaps it's easier to stay in a more like independent energy, and perhaps you feel that that's just going to be too much. The other thing I'm getting here as well is that there could be a situation, because the Nine of Cups talk, usually what happens is a chubby man who's feasting away and having a good old jolly time, right? Celebrating things, enjoying the comforts of life, okay? And so it could be a situation where if you're out and about at some sort of event or some sort of celebration, let's just put it that way, where there's a bit of a feast going on, something could happen there that becomes a little bit upsetting for you. And it doesn't tear at your heart. Again, it's more in the head. You're sort of analyzing it all, right? And then you feel like you're a little bit trapped. You don't know what to do, because we've got the Eight of Swords here and the Two of Swords. They basically say the same thing. It's like, can't make the decision, again, like we've had in the beginning, that Two of Swords there. Struggling to make a decision, not knowing which way to turn, because you feel like you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't, right? And that energy makes you feel trapped in a situation, trapped in the headspace, okay? Sometimes this can talk about a sort of a self-sabotage energy, okay? So it feels like in one side you want, and so if someone comes to you with love, now even if you are in a relationship, this could be a friend or someone trying to create a friendship with you, or business partner, but whatever it is, it's I would say it's pretty solid. It's pretty solid. But I do feel like you're trying to suss it all out, because ultimately you feel like it could just be a bit of a distraction towards what I'm actually planning for as I start the month. And so, but as you sort of suss it out, you kind of go, well, I'm damned if I do, I'm damned if I don't, because if I don't embark on this, then what's the whole point? I'm not, I'm saying goodbye to wonderful things that could actually benefit my life. But if I do go for it, then it's going to disrupt my plans for the future and these ideas that I have, or this physical move that I want to do. Okay, so it does put you in that weird space, and it does feel like a disruption, but I think a fantastic disruption, because you hadn't taken the heart space into consideration here. Okay, as we move into the Hermit, you're working out what that ultimate fulfillment is for you, but it's going to take a little bit of courage. And the reason I'm saying that is not only because the Strength card is in, that's what it means. Courage, determination, willpower, getting outside your comfort zone. I feel like this offer is actually quite promising for you, because you're trying to now, okay, well, how am I going to take this all into consideration? And it's about being true to yourself, being honest with yourself. Okay, on the surface, we can be speaking to people and saying, well, you know, I've got everything I need. I don't need anything more in my life, because I'm good. Okay, and but sometimes we have to be honest with ourselves and kind of go, well, it would actually be kind of nice to have, you know, some more love, or some more gestures of goodwill, or some more companions, or some more, you know, if we're honest with ourselves, it's always nice. Okay, but it does feel like this is kind of a little, I wouldn't say stubborn energy, but you really are trying to suss it out. And by even considering maybe even a future with this offer that comes through to you, is putting you outside your comfort zone quite a bit. The Tower and the Two of Wands over here talks about this concept. You see how he has, okay, he's got the two wands over there, and he's holding the globe, the world, in his hand, okay, and he's looking out to the horizon. Now, he's done everything that needs to be done, and he's standing at the top of his castle that he's built, and he's trying to think about his next move. Okay, where in the world should I go? What is my purpose? What's my next thing? The trouble with the Two of Wands is he's only at the 2, meaning he might have accomplished a lot, but he hasn't kind of accomplished it to a really, really deep level, meaning he didn't enjoy the journey. He had an idea, and he set out and he achieved that idea, but he didn't learn all the numbers in the lesson, or the cycle of 1 to 10, because he didn't really fully invest in it. And so that's where you, in the beginning, are like planning ahead for the future, but it's like planning on the end result, whereas this is all about the in-between, right? And so that idea of where he's at now is coming crumbling down, because he's like, well, I've already achieved quite a lot in my life, and these are good things. I feel this makes me feel confident and empowered, but actually, where does it leave me? Because I still feel like I'm stretching out for more, but I'm focusing on the end result. So I think that idea of the castle that he's standing on there, that he's accomplished, is a thing that's crumbling down. Because what's the point if you don't really throw yourself in 100% in every aspect of the journey? Okay, not sort of just jump up on top and you've achieved it. Woo, good. Next. That's the feeling I'm getting. Okay. Now with the Ten of Swords and the Emperor, I feel like, because we return back to the Emperor, because I feel like now you're coming into that recognition through that soul searching of the Hermit, to realize, okay, I realize that there's aspects of my life that now I'm finished with. Okay, and I don't need to revisit it. Meaning this kind of quick achievement, or not harboring any extra, not making room for a space for extra love to come my way. And when I say love, it doesn't have to be a romantic partner. It's just anything that renews your sense of spirit, your socializing, your going out as much as possible, meeting new people, that sort of really kind of potential energy. He's recognizing now that I've actually lost that way of being. That castle that I built up to protect myself from all of this stuff is crumbling down, and I know that that needs to end now, because I need to take in all the unseen secrets of life, you know, all the lovely, happy surprises that come my way. So I do feel like the surprise that happens for you this month is going to set the tone leading into May for you, because no longer are you planning everything to a T, but you basically just shifting the mark a little bit to allow a little bit more room for growth and the unforeseen. Okay, and that then becomes your strategy moving forward. So you're less kind of stringent on how things are going to plan out, and how, having done all your research and your information and gathered your information, it's less about a kind of A to Z plan. But later you find, okay, well, I need to make room for losses. I need to make room for growth. Those things that I don't foresee. And particularly, I realize now that I need extra room for matters of the heart. Okay? So, very interesting reading, actually. I've never, ever read anything like that before. But that's what's come through. So, let us get you an oracle card for a message from Spirit for this month of April for you, Gemini. What does Gemini need to know? Okay. Number one, we got Pleiades, double mission, channeling and uplifting humanity. Take a break. A life's work, not a season. Get off the treadmill. Now, this was actually the first card that jumped up. So this is absolutely talking about this whole energy here. Getting off the treadmill. Okay, stop being so stringent and so planning ahead. It's fantastic. You do make massive achievements. Gemini, you absorb so much information and you access information so well, and you are so articulate. But you got to allow room for the good stuff, you know, the things that you don't plan or the things that you don't foresee. You got to allow room for that. And maybe part of that is actually about taking a break. There could also be an aspect where the reason why you've got obviously there's integrity in planning for the future, because you basically want to create happiness for all, right? For everyone who is close to you in your life, you want everyone to be sound and solid and secure and all the rest of it. But you have to give a bit more room, right? You do have that. The reason why you feel that is because you have this sense of this purpose, this mission of giving people the foundation, this space to find their own, make their own achievements and surprise themselves and learn and experience and expand, because that's what you're about. You love learning. So you want to create the haven for others to do so, the family members that you do so, which is what this card is talking about. But sometimes you've just got to slow it down a bit, you know, because you could be jumping the gun without enjoying the little fruits of labor along the way. On the Tower, the crumbling. So pretty much the same card as the Tower card over here. What are you clinging on to? Okay, so it could be the idea that you're clinging on to, this logic. Perhaps you've been caught up in the logic of the past, or the logic of society or convention, the way to do things with, you know, the Hierophant card. Maybe that is the thing that there's an attachment to, and that's the thing that's crumbling down. It could also be a state of mind in terms of how you see or foresee your future as it relates to head and heart balance. Okay, maybe that's the thing that you're clinging on to, just a certain way of being. It could be physical materials that are you clinging on to. There's an attachment there. So it poses a question of, what are the things that you're clinging on to? Because when we recognize what those things are, we can recognize that there perhaps is a little bit of an unbalanced situation there. And perhaps we are making decisions purely based on that. And why is there an attachment? Why, you know? So if we can do that sort of like detailed introspection with the Hermit card, we can start to bring illumination to it, bring awareness to it, and then be in a more empowered space to release it and allow that extra room for flow and grow. Okay, so I really hope this helped you, Libra. Gemini. I wish you all the best, and I will see you next month. Take care. Bye.